And welcome to Earth2, where superheroes exist and comic book talk is the norm. I'm your host, Vito D.
Mo Crosby.
And welcome to the planet.
Welcome to the planet.
So, every so often we come across a miniseries that pretty much,
Blows our mind.
yeah, blows, like, nice little pause. Blows means like, suck, but this is far from that.
That was a good
And
one.
there's a couple stories, every so often the story comes by and it hits you, like, on personal levels, right? And you relate to it.
Which one are we talking about?
We're talking about Reborn, written by Mark Millar and art by the great Greg Capullo.
What an awesome team.
Yes, automatically, I picked up the book because strictly off the team, I didn't care or I didn't know what the hell it was about. I was just like, I know I like Mark Millar stories. I mean, with Kick-Ass, with Huck, with Civil War and Civil War and also Old Man Logan. I mean, the guy comes up with some really nice really cool stories. American Jesus, what is it? Kingsman,
yeah.
So,
and his stories are very well grounded. Like some of them, there's the fantasy, but then he kind of brings like a grounding in reality. So he kind of melds. What Mark Millar does that I like is he melds like the reality of what's going on in real life or just real life happenings with this fantasy. So he kind of does that very, very well. Because most comic books are fantasy, but he grounds his fantasy in reality. Should I say like that? Yeah.
And also, for a story to actually be impactful as this one is, you need a really solid artist, someone that can bring to life the characters and the story and the emotion and show that emotion through the characters, right?
Yes.
And Greg Capullo is amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, he's done Spawn, he's done Batman with Scott Snyder. So when I saw that these two were working together on the story, I was like, I don't even care what it's about. I'm getting it. I'm automatically buying the first 2-3 issues just because, right? It was supposed to be an ongoing series, I believe.
Yes.
But with scheduling and all this stuff, and especially with Batman Metal and Greg Capullo, and Greg Capullo being part of the whole
that
DC thing that's going on, they had to cut it short. So I was afraid it was gonna be a letdown at the end, and it really wasn't. So overall, story. What did you think?
So the story hit me like this, like if any one of you has ever thought of like death and the afterlife, that was what the story, that's the way the story hit me, and it kind of made it a fantasy where if you have a kid who wants to understand death, they can read that book and not be afraid of it in the long run, or say someone close to you dies, you can read that book and still see oh, okay, well, they're in a better place.
Well, it help you console.
Yeah, it helps you console them. So it really touched me in a way where dang, whenever someone says, oh, don't worry, they're in a better place, this is what I can now imagine.
Yeah.
Granted, that the person, I mean, they wrote it in such a way that there's good and there's evil even in afterlife. So yeah. It was a very, very good story, and it's one of those things where you pick up issue 1 and you open it, and they do a lot of exposition and talking, and then you kind of get to the end and you're like, okay, so what's really going on? And then you have to actually commit to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of visual representations. So in the story, to show you that this person has gone through a full life, there's a whole bunch of, I guess you can say, it's a montage of panels, and it hangs over her like a chandelier, so you're just like, what the hell is going on? But then once you get the whole concept of what the story is about, near the end, you realize, and then that's what makes you want to read it again. You're like, oh, okay, so she's going through her whole life in these panels, and they're just flash forwarding it so that way she's an older woman now, because it goes back to where she's 30, where she gets where Bonnie gets reborn, and it confuses you at times because you're like, okay, so she was just on a hospital bed not too long ago. What is she doing just like roaming free in the woods. So you understand it, and the first issue can be kind of what the hell's going on.
Man, very
but
wordy.
but you understand it as well at the end, and you learn to appreciate it once the other issues
once
come by in
goes
2, 3. To me, this book actually reads better as a graphic novel.
Yes, because that was
it
how
goes
I read
back
it.
and forth
Yes.
a lot.
Because Vito said he picked it up, when it was coming out.
Yeah, I picked it up
with
monthly,
the issue.
and I had to wait. And
so he tells me about it, and I'm like, okay. I mean, because we've been told about it. Vito has been reading it. I've been told about it by another friend, and I was like, you know what, fine, let me just go pick it up. So I picked up all 6 issues, and I went through all of them, and it reads better that way. But it also makes you appreciate the people like Vito who read it monthly, and waited to see the story progress. And it's like, okay, this is getting interesting. Because I'm reading it like, oh my god, if I was waiting for this monthly, I would probably die. I would die because it's so good that you don't want to wait. So you kind of appreciate people who actually bought it, every month. But nah, the story is very strong. It's it's not even polarizing. It's just very strong. You just want to feel for the characters. You want to feel for the characters and what they're going through and how they're going through what they're going through.
And how they can remember also their past life.
Yes.
And everything what they did in their previous life reflects on who they are currently.
Exactly.
So if you haven't caught on yet, Reborn is pretty much you die and then you get reborn in not a different image, but you're younger.
So
you're younger self in a different world where I guess powers come to you.
Yes.
Right.
And you live that life in that different world, and the thing is, you still die in that world, and you go
somewhere else.
It's amazing because
it's a cycle of life, pretty much.
Pretty much. Her best friend, who was one of her best friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when her husband died, and she was the one who consoled Bonnie, like life is great, you're gonna be good, you're gonna make it, and then so Bonnie's best friend dies and comes to this world, and then finds out that her husband, who came as an older person, and he died before she got there, and so she had just lost hope. Again, you can't even though you still get reborn in this other place, like the love you felt for someone in the past is still there for you right now.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Bonnie's husband had moved on in the second life because he had lived longer than her.
Yeah, he was there for what, 9 years?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can imagine, being married to someone for maybe 40, 50 years, and you die and get reborn, and it's like,
you don't even know if the other person is going to be reborn in the same place as you in a different world.
Yeah, because again, we didn't really explore the whole entire universe of that world. We just explored a section of it. So this is why, so my thought after this is, I think Vito also mentioned this, was when we're still gonna get more. It's not over.
Yeah, the way I took it at the end, spoilers aside and everything, because we're leaving out a huge plot twist and a huge thing that happened at the end. What happens is that the way it ended, because remember I had said that it was supposed to be an ongoing series, and then they cut it into a miniseries. They left it as to be continued. This is the end of book 1. Which makes me believe that, they're going to continue this later on, say like in a year or 2, or maybe in a couple years, that they'll start either a different story with Reborn, where it's not Bonnie as the main character, it's somebody completely different, and this is their journey through the whole cycles of life. Or maybe they can just add to this mythos that they've created, this universe that they've created, with Bonnie and her father and everyone else.
Or they could go into this other world, where the fairy queen went to. I mean, I'd like to see what that is about. Because my thought is, this is what I thought about it though. Okay, so you die, you get reborn, and if you die in this universe, depending on who you are, you get reborn back into our universe. Like you come all the way back.
I just felt that it's like a never-ending thing. So
it's a whole circle. Like you die you get reborn, or a triangle, whichever way. It's 3 points.
Well, the way I looked at it is that It's never ending. So
just keep
you
going.
die here, you go to a different world, and then you go to a different world. You go to a different world. You never go back to how it was with your previous life or any of your previous life.
I mean, that's another way to look at it. But I really think you're going to come back. Maybe you're not going to come back as the same person.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know how people believe in reincarnation?
Yeah.
You're probably going to come back in a different life, but I don't know if you're going to remember what happened to you. You probably won't.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait to see what that's going to be about. But no, seriously, if you haven't picked it up, what do you think?
Yeah, you should definitely pick up anything that has these two guys as there.
Oh, we're going to be getting a lot from these
team.
two guys. They're going to be teaming up on the metal, right? Or something.
Mark Miller isn't.
Oh no, he's not. He's not. But Greg Capullo.
Mark Miller does more indie stuff now. So.
But no, I say pick it up. I definitely, if you've never picked up anything from Mark Miller, like what we mentioned earlier, this is if you want to start. I'd say start here, just so you know who he is as a storyteller, and then you can now decide if you want to go back and read.
Yeah, he has a couple other ones. I mean, like another recommendation of mine is Huck. If you want to read more Mark Miller stuff.
Yeah, so it's a definitely 2 thumbs up for me. Well, 1 thumb for me.
2. I was scratching my head.
Comments?
Let us know if you read it or if you're interested in reading it, if this actually helped you out or not. So just leave it down in the comment. Just let us know.
If you haven't already, like and subscribe.
Yeah, and hit us up on our social media. Earth2 Comiccast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yep. Check out the SoundCloud where we give you a whole list of other things. You know, we go spoilers and go in depth with certain things.
Yeah.
And that's our podcast, and so Earth2 Comiccast on SoundCloud.com.
Yeah, we talk comics, we talk anything that's going on. If a trailer comes by or if a movie comes by, we do the more spoilery stuff there.
Ooh, as a matter of fact, we sometimes will have a special guest. So now we've had a couple episodes with 2 guests on there. Had a guest on our episode last week, Thursday, so you want to check that out.
Yeah, always check that out. So, as always, keep checking out our videos as well. So
yeah, definitely.
So, from Mo Crosby and I, go for your long box.